All right, I'm going to call to order Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners regular business meeting for August 6th, 2025 at 6:30. Our first item is invocation reflection, which was for Commissioner Wheeler, who was not able to be with us this evening. Is there another commissioner who wishes to stand in? Right, go ahead. Go ahead, Vice Chair. Oh, good. Thank you, Commissioner Gissler. Get your mic. There we go.
My pleasure. I'll get the cookie out of my mouth. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather today to make decisions for our community, bless us that we may use the best skills and judgment. Guide us as we consider the merits and pitfalls of each matter that comes before us. Grant us the wisdom to act in the best interests of our community and fellow citizens. Help us show respect for each other and the entire community. Please grant us the wisdom to govern amid the conflicting interests and issues of our times. Finally, watch over the men and women who keep us safe at home and abroad. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go to item number 3. Clerk, will you please call our roll?
Chair Strebs.
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor. Commissioner Wheeler. Commissioner DeLue.
Here.
Commissioner Gissler.
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Here.
Commissioner Mazer.
Here.
Commissioner Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Ray.
Present.
8 present.
Thank you. And again, Commissioner Wheeler called and is not able to be with us this evening. We'll go to item number 4, proclamations. We have item 2025-956, proclamation honoring Gwendolyn Lanier. Do you want this one? Sure. Give that to Commissioner Morales. Yeah. See it?
I can actually read it, Council. I'm joking.
Oh.
I'm reading. All right, thank you, Chair. Whereas Gwendolyn Lanier is a proud co-founder of Mothers of Hope, a Kalamazoo-based nonprofit committed to empowering women, families, and communities to overcome the effects of substance abuse, disorders, poverty, violence, and systemic inequities. With deep compassion and lived experience, Gwen provides weekly peer support, facilitates recovery, fellowship events, and leads 12-step meetings at the organization's headquarters on Ada Street. Whereas born in November 1953 in Miami, Florida, Gwen's early life was shaped by hardship, displacement, and communication barriers. Raised in part by her deaf great-aunt, Gwen did not learn to speak until age 6. She endured a challenging adolescence, dropping out of school at 16 and becoming a mother while navigating instability, addiction, and single parenthood. Whereas, yet Gwen's story is not defined by her struggles. It is a testimony of transformation. After battling addiction and attending 3 treatment programs, Gwen embraced recovery on September 19, 1988, a day that changed her life forever. Now over 36 years clean, she has become a beacon of hope and healing in her community. Whereas under her leadership, Mothers of Hope offers 12-step meetings daily and recovery fellowship opportunities, creating a safe, drug-free, home-away-from-home environment for individuals in recovery. Gwen's life reflects her faith, resilience, and unwavering commitment to service. Her accomplishments include 30 years of service at Ministry with Community, a recipient of the YWCA Women of Achievement Award, co-founder and board member of Mothers of Hope, recipient of numerous community honors, including Black Women's Roundtable, Sistar Leadership Award, longtime community leader, serving on the boards of Safe House, Laura's House, and the Northside Association of Community Development. 26 years of proud ownership in Kalamazoo's historic Northside neighborhood, whereas pursuing her associate degree in social work with over 70% of her coursework completed at KBCC. Whereas matriarch of a service-oriented family whose children and grandchildren continue her legacy of leadership and public service. Whereas her greatest pride is her family. Yolanda Niels, her eldest, is an Army veteran, author, and co-owner of Kindred Healing Center in Atlanta, Georgia. What is GY? I'm sorry. Oh, Guinea Sergeant, excuse me. Retired Burrow Wilson Jr. Her son holds a degree in aeronautical engineering from Embry-Riddle and served honorably in the U.S. Marine Corps. Stephanie Williams, her youngest, is a 20-year public servant, former Kalamazoo County Commissioner and Chairwoman, City Commissioner, and a former candidate for Michigan State Representative. Whereas Gwendolyn Lanier's journey from addiction to advocacy is a powerful example of what it means to heal, to lead, and to never give up on yourself or your community. As Helen Keller said, although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of overcomers. Gwen is one of them, and she has dedicated her life to making space for others to overcome too. Whereas Gwen, in collaboration with Charles Parker of Charlie's Place, co-founded the Five Families program to support parents seeking to engage. It's a hole in my report. Seeking to engage their children in continuing education opportunities when not in school. Gwen sponsors and mentors men and women in recovery, walking alongside them in their journey to sobriety and purpose. Whereas Gwen's mantra is up with hope, down with dope. She lives by the affirmation, the lie is dead, we do recover. Now therefore be it resolved that the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners does hereby acknowledge with gratitude the many years of dedication and service that Ms. Gwendolyn Lanier has given to the Kalamazoo community. Support.
Motion made by Commissioner Morales, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLupe,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor, Commissioner Wheeler. 8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Congratulations to Ms. Lanier. All of her work in that recognition. Let's go to item 5 is communications. We have item 2025-878 from Houghton County Resolution number 2508, urging action to oppose proposed cuts to Medicaid by the federal government. Item 2025-948, we've received the Planning and Development Department's 2024 annual report. And item 2025-953, it's a public hearing notice to receive public comment on a brownfield redevelopment plan to include therein the property located at 6565 West Main Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan, 49009. Are there any other communications from members? All right, seeing none, we'll go to item 6, approval of the minutes.
Chair, I make a motion to approve the July 15, 2025 draft committee of the whole and regular meeting minutes.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Ray. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Yep. Any opposed? The motion carries. Go to item 2025-947, Request for approval of the July 29th, 2025 draft meeting minutes.
So
Budget
moved.
retreat, sorry. Thank you. Motion by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Ray. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll go to item 7, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to pull, excuse me, under housing, item number 2025-830.
Thank you. Item 2025-830 will be taken up under non-consent. Any others? All right. We need a secondary motion for the motion agenda as amended.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the agenda as amended signify by saying aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Move to item 8 for presentations. We have none scheduled for this meeting. We'll go to item 9 as an opportunity for public hearings, which also we have none. Pardon me. Taking us to item 10, this is for our first opportunity in this meeting for public comment. This can be made in person or on the phone by calling 855-925-2801 and entering code 10748 and pressing *3 to join the speaker queue. Callers may request to join the speaker queue at any time. Before the final public comment period ends, you'll be permitted to speak during the specific public comment session for which you requested to join. If you wish to speak during both public comment periods, you must press *3 again after the first session concludes. Speakers will be recognized in the order their requests are received. Members in person can join us at the podium. Please, either way you participate, share your name, where you're from. You have up to 3 minutes to address the body on a topic of your choosing. Welcome.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema. I live and work in the city. And I'm here to speak on the item that Commissioner Ray pulled, 2025-830. It's a request for approval of $15,000 in ARPA Housing Support Service funds to be allocated to the City of Kalamazoo for the Finding Your Way Home program. And I'm joined by Public Safety Officer Mary Miller, who will talk about the program. And afterwards, we would urge your approval under the regular agenda. So I'd like to welcome Officer Miller.
Hi, Officer Miller, Kalamazoo Public Safety. I'm on our community service team, which we directly work with our unhoused population and also people that are in crisis. A small portion of what we do on our team is funded through the Finding a Way Home program. With that program, we have unhoused folks that are either not finding the supports that they were thinking they would when they got to Kalamazoo, or others that have been here for years. And if they figure out that they have another city or somewhere else where they have a support system, they will contact us and we will try and connect them with those support systems. What we normally do is we confirm that those support systems are in place, whether it's a family, a friend, or another shelter that they're looking to go to. We reach out to those organizations, those support systems, and confirm that they will have that soft handoff for these individuals and support them to better their lives. And then after we have confirmed that, we'll purchase that bus ticket to actually get them to that location. To date, we have had 67 people that have utilized the Finding a Way Home program. In the last year, there's been 36 people. The tickets, they range anywhere from $22 to about $400. It just depends on where they're going, what city they're going to. And year to date, we have spent a little over $5,000 in trying to get these individuals connected to their support systems.
So this item was on the city commission agenda, and it passed unanimously on Monday night. And we would also like to indulge your approval of this. We think it's a great way to get folks that are dropped off or are here that really are away from their loved ones and their support system, a compassionate way home. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director. Is there anybody else wishing to make public comment? Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Jane Ghosh with Discover Kalamazoo. And this is a big week for Kalamazoo County. Once again, the best junior men's tennis players in the country are here in Kalamazoo County competing in the United States Tennis Association Junior Boys National Championship for 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds. The winners of both singles and doubles in the 18s will go on to an automatic berth in the U.S. Open. And in this past Wimbledon, one of the winners from Kalamazoo, as recently as 2021, was in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon this year. So these truly are the best junior tennis players in the country, and many of them are contenders and the faces that you will soon be seeing in Wimbledon and the French Open and the U.S. Open. And I would like to invite all commissioners and if tickets remain available, county staff to take the opportunity to go and watch this phenomenal tennis right there at Kalamazoo College. The rounds at Western are now over. All the play is happening at Kalamazoo College. I'm going to leave them with the administrator, if that is okay. If you wish to go to the finals on Saturday and Sunday, please use a green ticket. If you are interested in going to see the earlier round play on Thursday or Friday, please use a purple ticket. And it really is an amazing environment and an honor for Kalamazoo to host these tennis players, and I encourage you to check it out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dina, do we have anyone online?
Chair, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Seeing none. So that will end public comment. I'm going to take just a moment of personal privilege, and I do want to recognize something in the community. It was elevated this week. There were concerns about members of the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety operating in law enforcement activities and the KVET enforcement rather while wearing masks. And I do want to thank KDPS Chief Boyson for addressing those concerns and refining policy. And I see Sheriff Fuller has joined us. Sheriff, if you would like to share some comments with us, it would be appropriate at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Board. So yes, in the news recently, we've seen this information come out that the masks were being utilized under certain circumstances. What I want people to understand is that in law enforcement in general, for the longest time, and I've been in law enforcement for 39 years for sure, not as long as a couple of my colleagues that are in the room, but ultimately, I want you to understand that the use of mask is a rare occasion in most of law enforcement. Masks are often used during blizzards. Here in Michigan, we suffer blizzards. They are often used when there's heavy smoke conditions for some reason. Maybe there's a forest fire and we're helping direct traffic or something to that effect. And on even more rare occasions, there's opportunity for undercover officers to have to conceal their identity while they identify somebody who may be related to a sting operation. All these things are rare, and they're also authorized uses. It is not a regular thing that happens daily in law enforcement. It has come to mind because of the things that we are seeing in the national news. And I just want to say that ultimately, we work very closely with all organizations and make it very clear what we expect or how we would operate in these arenas. I believe we're listened to also. I'm saying this because it came out in the last day or so that Kalamazoo County was taken off from the sanctuary list. I know that my sheriff's office and my team had direct conversations with ICE officials here in the state of Michigan and advising that we see no criteria where the County of Kalamazoo meets this, and we would like to be off that list. And they assisted in the matter in talking to Homeland Security, and Kalamazoo County is off that list, which is very recent, and I appreciate that recognition. The last thing I would like to say is that, almost last, I'm sorry. The Sheriff's Office has also put out a memo today thanking Dave Boyson, Chief Boyson, for his courage and his acknowledgement of the situation. The Sheriff's Office has also made it clear to our staff that under the rarest conditions, it would have to be authorized. And you can't predict tomorrow, so we're very cautious about saying absolutely not. But it's, again, rare. Even more rare is the opportunity for someone to obscure who they are as a deputy working for the sheriff's office or general law enforcement. It's generally just not allowed. And while we've seen some of this practice, I recognize that a lot of people in my position across this country are expressing their concerns. I think we're starting to be listened to, and I applaud some of the bipartisan agreements that people are coming to in our legislatures to help everyone in law enforcement, everyone in our communities know that law enforcement's number one job is not only protecting and serving, but it is building community. And we want to do everything we can to eliminate those times where the blocking of our actions are going to cause some sort of wall in our communities. And so I thank again everyone who is paying attention to this topic and that they go on. I also would like to encourage the federal government to further think about some of these things. We see that there is federal agents being offered $50,000 sign-on bonuses. You guys have been asked to help me ask for sign-on bonuses. That has helped to some level. I don't think any level is really going to help as much as we all have the need. But again, I point out that Kalamazoo County, the state of Michigan, we can't print money. And so we don't have those large chunks. Further, I do applaud the ideas of eliminating college debt for those going into these services. I would love to see it expanded to local governments, and I would like to see it expanded even further beyond just law enforcement officials. It should be everyone in the services of emergencies, in my opinion, as well as doctors, nurses who all carry heavy loan opportunities or payments. And further on down the line, school teachers, they are public safety as anybody else can point out what they do for our communities. So of course, my list is longer. I won't take everybody's time. And I'll say thank you again for the opportunity to help this board, our community, recognize how it's viewed in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Sheriff? Commissioner Kistler?
Yes, that designation of sanctuary is gone now.
It is.
Did you have to communicate with the, Center for Immigration Studies? Because that's where I saw it first and it seemed to want to hang in there.
Yeah, I think our legal counsel has addressed that organization to us as a whole. He and I have had a conversation about it. I greatly appreciate his support in that matter. The organization is a difficult organization. They're not even a federally recognized organization. And the information they utilized was a criteria they created, and it wasn't even vetted by the federal government. So again, we are no longer on anyone's list for being a sanctuary city, and that's appreciated.
Can I make one additional comment? I go back long enough to know when you pulled that thing together that became the document that guided you through the maze of ICE detainers and that sort of thing. It was not anything done haphazardly. I think you took the better part of a year, as I recall, to come up with something that made sense, that was legal, and yet still didn't declare us a sanctuary city, county, or anything else. And I want to say thank you again.
I appreciate that, and I can tell you that all of those involved have heard similar from us, and I will pass that on. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Yes.
All right, we're going to move to item 11, our consent agenda.
Chair, I move that all items on the consent agenda be voted on one time and considered as a consent agenda by the board.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, for the approval of the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? Thank you. All those in favor, pardon me, I do that every time. Clerk, will you please call a roll?
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner DeLuke.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Okay. All right, to move us to item 13. It's our new business non-consent. We'll take up first the items within civic clerk in the agenda, and then we'll take up the item brought forth by Commissioner Ray to non-consent. So first is request for approval of and signature of Axon Statement of Work and quote for record management system, the Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Ray. Is there discussion? Vice Chair.
Just, this is a big deal, this and the next motion. This is gonna modernize the sheriff's office. It's been something that, the sheriff has been wanting for a long time. And, Chair Strebs has been working really hard with the, data transparency, group. And hopefully these can come together so that we can look at how we're spending our dollars and how we're doing our programs and what's most effective and what's not, as well as making it easier for the deputy corrections officers in the jail with the other system as well. So I'm in full support of this.
Right, I'll just add to that, this work around data transparency and the software systems that we're moving forward for implementation and purchase this evening. I look forward to working with the sheriff and the rest of our team in his office to ensure that we have strong collaboration with the community. We offer opportunities for data transparency with the tools we have available, and I look forward to that work as we move forward. Okay. All right. With that, clerk, will you please call a roll?
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor, Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner DeLuke,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler.
Yes.
8 yes.
That motion carries. Our next is a request for approval of and signature on Black Creek Integrated Systems Corp. Agreement for a jail management system. Motion is made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, will you please call a roll?
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner DeLuke,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Yes.
8 yes.
That motion carries. All right, next we'll move to request for reallocation ARPA funding for hiring bonus and recruitment incentive in conjunction with board request 2025-752.
So
Motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? Vice Chair.
Really quick, these ARPA dollars are going to run out. So that while solves the problem for the next couple years, we're gonna have to be looking for solutions as we get to the 2027 budget and beyond of how to recruit people in law enforcement. As the sheriff mentioned, it's gonna get even more difficult with the hiring of thousands and thousands of ICE agents that are gonna be taking from the pool of applicants that we're actively searching for. So while this is a short-term solution for next couple of years, we need to be cognizant in next budget cycles of how we're going to continue this process.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I'm going to add some further comments to that. So the federal government at this time has allocated, in my view, an utterly obscene amount of money for immigration and customs enforcement, including extremely large salaries and recruitment bonuses and lower standards for the officers which will be hired in that regard. And it's important for the community to remember and understand the impact that this is going to have on local recruitment of law enforcement officers, which already are difficult to recruit. Local law enforcement deals with crime in our community, whereas we've seen the application of customs and immigration enforcement is targeting poor working class people and families that work in service industries and pay our taxes. So we're going to see a pressure on the safety of our local communities because of this. So yes, while the board will need to strategize about how we deal with local recruitment, community needs to be clear-eyed about the impacts that federal program is going to have. And again, to work to advocate, Congress can step forward and reallocate money. Hopefully in a functioning democracy, a federal government listens to what Congress allocates funds for, but all of us should be clear-eyed about the impact. I see Under Sheriff stepping forward. If you'd like to comment, please do.
I would thank you very much, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Appreciate you reviewing this request and taking your time to discuss it. What I'd really like to request of you tonight is if you would consider passing a motion to maybe merge the two accounts. There are two ARPA accounts that one is going to be was asked for to be used to send people to be trained at a police academy, which we still do need. And the other one was for recruitment and hiring bonuses. And the last thing we spoke about, the new incentive county bounty program that we'd like to start as soon as we can. After we last spoke, we have been out there heavily recruiting, hitting the pavement, doing what we can. And we have 7 candidates accepted to a police academy, and they will be attending. They started this month, which is a blessing, but everything ebbs and flows, and I know you understand that clearly. But instead of continuing to ask you to move monies around, I would ask that you make a motion to merge the accounts to be used for those purposes, specifically sending people to the police academy, recruitment, and our incentive bonuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Under Sheriff. Vice Chair.
I'd have no problem looking at that and discussing it in 2 weeks, but I'd be remiss if I didn't let it go through administration and finance first before we'd made a motion from the dais. But I certainly think we could talk about that request at our next leadership meeting.
Anything further?
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate you considering this first request.
All right, with that, no further discussion. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Morales?
Yes.
Commissioner Ray? Chair Strips?
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler? Commissioner DeLu?
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler?
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer?
Yes.
8 yes.
That motion carries. Our next is a request for approval to accept a supplemental grant funds from the Michigan Department of Corrections. Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there further discussion? Right, seeing none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Ray?
Yes.
Chair Strips?
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler? Commissioner DeLu?
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler?
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer?
Yes.
Commissioner Morales? 8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Okay, we'll move next to request for approval to adopt a resolution reallocating $400,000 in ARPA funding for necessary infrastructure improvements at the Department of Health and Community Services located at 311 East Elka, Kalamazoo, Michigan. So this is a reallocation of the 400,000 in ARPA was awarded to Young Kings and Queens. We'll take up a subsequent discussion on another award they received through the housing millage as well. But this is the one we began to discuss earlier. So a motion is in order. We can open discussion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
All right, motion is made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Let's open for discussion. Commissioner Ray.
Thanks, Chair. I just have the same comments as earlier. When we received the ARPA funding, we distributed the funding into different pots, and this funding came from the disproportionately impacted communities pot, and I just feel like we should be putting that money back there and not using it for a different project. I think that we do have other funding if we want to use that to replace the pipes at HCS, because it sounds like it's necessary and it should happen relatively quickly, but I just don't think that we should be utilizing this particular funding for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Ray. Seeing Vice Chair Taylor.
Yeah, actually, that's a good comment by Commissioner Ray. I think looking at it, but although there is one thing in this, did we receive a letter from Young Kings and Queens informing, this is probably a question for Administrator, did they decline the ARPA grant award?
Yes, that is correct, Vice Chair.
And we moved a matter to that effect in the consent agenda this evening as well.
So Commissioner Ray's comments, which I appreciate, if we're going to, this was originally allocated for ARPA and the Young Kings and Queens don't want it, that we could continue and find some other avenue within that sector is what basically what you're saying. And then we'll still decline the Young Kings and Queens 400. We just try to find a different source of to use that money and its sort of intended purposes, and then internally get the is that where okay, yeah, I have no fundamental disagreement with that.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have a fundamental disagreement with what you're saying. My concern is that this money is going to be run out very shortly, needs to be spent very quickly. Otherwise, we got to send it all back, and nobody's going to get any benefit from it. So I don't know if we have anybody that's, that's right now that we can vet and allocate this money. We do know that there is a strong need at the health department, which helps all these people, that this money could go to help fund this water replacement in that facility. So my only concern is I don't want to lose it. I don't want to give it back to the federal government. I'd rather see it get spent here in Kalamazoo County. And our window here is we got less than a year and 6 months or 5 months, if I'm not mistaken. Got to have it spent by the end of 26, which is next year. So my only concern is I don't want to lose it. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. Commissioner Morales.
Same sentiments, but I think that there are organizations that haven't previously been funded from some of the committees that we served on, including who recently got denied from the 400,000 that may have been up in the next rankings, that we can fizzle that money and break that down to, or are you wanting to suggesting one $400,000 payment for one entity? Because if we can break it down, then we can serve several. And we have till December 31, 26, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. I think that we have more than enough time to support entities to spend.
Vice Chair.
Basically, this motion is two different portions of it. One is taking reallocating, or not reallocating, unallocating the 400,000 from the Youngs and Kings and Queens. And the other part of the motion is to put the $400,000 to the replacement lines. I'm certainly with Young Kings and Queens declining the ARPA grant award. I'm certainly in favor of the first part of the motion. They don't want it. The second part of the motion would be to find a different source to allocate that. Although we do have December 31st, I don't think we have that kind of time. I think we really got about a month and a half. So I've got no problem, but we do have to put the $400,000 into lead replacement. You know, our strategic reserve, there's a lot of different avenues to do that. I'd be in favor of, if this isn't an immediate need in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I'd be in favor of doing just the first part of the motion, rescinding the 400,000, and then waiting until the next meeting before we decide either we do it to the lead pipes or we do it somewhere else, or the pipes at the Alcott Street place, or we do somewhere else. But I think we should make a determination by the earliest by the next meeting. So if you wanted to just do the first part of this and rescind the 400,000 from Young Kings and Queens, and then wait to see where we do the next 400,000 to the next meeting to give us time to think of a better placement for that met the same sort of criteria as the original allocation, I'd be okay with that.
Commissioner Ray?
Thank you, Chair. Okay, John. But also we have those 60 applications for the $400,000 community grants that we don't have enough to fund. We could utilize the $400,000 to award some of those. And then the second thing I wanted to say was I spoke with Takesha from Young Kings and Queens, and they said that they incurred some costs from the project that was approved, and they weren't able to upload those receipts to get reimbursed. It sounded like it was really low, but I think that we should reimburse them for whatever they paid out for this project before we take the 400,000 back. It was really low. I can't remember the exact amount though, but it wasn't a substantial amount of money.
Did you have Commissioner Morales?
Are you good? So in agreement with dispersing it, and then if they need a reimbursement, give them a reimbursement. Piggyback from earlier, for these lead replacements, is there a way to take advantage of the 10 million that you talked about earlier and use a portion of that internally to replace the pipes so that we can fund community resources, which was also said earlier?
So let me, to administrator, so we're having, obviously this prior board spent significant time working through those ARPA allocations. We had the identified, pots rather, or areas of focus. And, thanks to Commissioner Ray's advocacy, I think this board is in alignment with that intended focus for these resources. As we sort of consider how to address both problems, what would be potential avenues to address the copper line replacement at HCS if these ARPA funds are reallocated back to disproportionately impacted communities?
Thank you, Chair. Commissioners, the other avenue is to utilize the golden ratio. So with the conclusion of the FY 2024 audit, we know what those numbers are, the 10 million. So utilizing the fund balance policy of 20 to 25%, that's either 10 million or 6 million. We would endeavor to use caution and use the 25%, which would be 6 million. So not 10 million. So that way we keep more in fund balance in case, as you know, there's looming federal cuts, looming state cuts to budgets. So that would mean 1.8 million, I believe, would be for board priorities, which the board could certainly endeavor to segment off a portion of that funding to address the copper water line replacement. I just want to address the fact that it's not lead, it's copper. Just they're a little different. So, but yes, so that would be another avenue. I just don't want the media to there's lead and no, it's copper, but and it's just too much copper for per EPA regulations. But yeah, so that would be the other avenue, or again, utilizing the ARPA funding.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, very similar to what Dr. Catlin said. I think we should use the golden ratio, but I would use the capital portion, not the board priorities portion of that, because it's a capital purchase. That being said, I think at this point I will rescind my earlier motion and just make a motion to rescind the 400,000 bridge housing and finance program from Young Kings and Queens. And then we can make a determination, hopefully by the next meeting, because I'm with Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. We don't have till December 31st to make this decision. We got to make it pretty darn quick, but.
I rescind my support to support. Vice Chair is.
Second motion.
What he said.
And I'll get with the clerk.
So thank you. And I know we had some procedural issues earlier, advancing the drafted motion from council within the wrong structure. But just getting in a habit to make motions and rescinding them, it is cleaner for our records and clerk. Motions presented, it's seconded, we have discussion, we could vote on the motion to its resolution and then adopt secondary motions. But motion has been requested to be rescinded and agreed to by the support, so the motion is therefore rescinded. Thank you, clerk. Do I have Commissioner Morales?
Okay, so I need clarity. When I just asked the question of, is it December 31st, 2026? We said yes. And right now you're saying we have a month. We're not saying for the 2026. It's not, yeah,
And
that's
the
what I
ARPA
thought.
funds, we have until December 31st.
That's what I thought.
What we do have some tight timeline on though is,
The allocation of it, but and then not the expenditure part.
yeah, so
Okay, I got you.
we have the current budget process in
Right.
play. And if HCS wants that addressed quickly, then we need to figure out within our current budget,
Okay.
which that cycle is shorter than 26. Commissioner DeLu.
If we're still open for discussion, I just have a question for clarity again. So we requested and received 61 grant applications. Then did this problem come to light? Because that's the first time I've heard of it, this issue, and want to use all the money for that.
Thank you. Administrator, would you like to address that?
Yeah, absolutely, Chair. Commissioners, to address that question, this is purely a coincidence that we have $400,000 allocated for the Community Grants Fund and then a $400,000 rescission or a forfeiture of ARPA funding. They're not related. We have allocated and portioned off revenue to address the community grants applications through the normal budgeting process. This 400,000 ARPA is completely separate issue.
Right, but when did we know about the copper pipe issue?
We just found out about that I think it was 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago. And so we've been working internally to find a funding source. This all of a sudden came up, and coincidentally, it's the same price to replace the copper water lines as the funding was declined. So that's why we're proposing utilizing that funding. However, we can use a different, we could take a different avenue, so to speak.
So I'm just wondering why wasn't this brought up before we requested all these grant applications? If your thought or process was to use this money for the copper pipes, why would we solicit the community to utilize this money if you wanted to use it for the?
Again, Commissioner DeLu, the two issues are separate. This is ARPA funding. The 400,000 in community grants is going through the budget process. Two totally different issues that should not be completed. So the 400, it's coincidental that this is a $400,000 ARPA award and a $400,000 pot of funding to address community grants. The community grants will be addressed through the budget process, which we already have money for. We have funding to address the community grants, but only $400,000. If the board endeavored to utilize a portion, which we do not recommend utilizing the $400,000 to address the community grants, because those grants and that funding needs to be spent by December 31st, 2026, or we risk losing it and having to forfeit it back to the federal government. So there are two totally separate issues. We've already endeavored to address the community grants through the budgeting process as was articulated in 2024 when we came up with the idea, because the board had entertained certain grant requests in the middle of the budget process. Of course, the end, basically the conclusion when we've already had everything balanced. So we decided and recommended that we basically create this community grants process to be incorporated into the budget process. But these two issues are not to be conflated. They're not related at all. If that, I hope that addresses your question and provides clarity.
And Commissioner Dillon, maybe stated another way, the community grant application process with $400,000, that was directed by the board. We wanted that money made available for consideration. The last several budget cycles, we've had community needs come forward in a more informal, less transparent way. And so this was a way to address where the board has resources in the budget to allocate to community programming. This sort of solidified a process with which we review and execute those funds. I think administration's concern, and elevated, too, by Vice Chair Pro Tem, that we want to ensure the money is expended by the time that we would otherwise need to pay it back, is a strong consideration for us to make. Another that I'd like to have a bit of a sense on, the copper lines at HCS. We've, as we all are aware, there've been a number of issues with that facility. We've had to make significant investments. I want to understand what is we're buying water cooler water for people to utilize. How expensive is that for us? Are there any other impacts that the copper lines have with the functioning of lab facilities or anything else in the HCS? Or is purchasing water a fairly reasonable expense rather than spending $400,000?
If the chair, if you give me a moment, we can have staff. We have that information. We just have to dig it up. But yeah, just give me one moment.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, Administrator. Thank you for seeking that information for me, Commissioner Gisler.
Thank you, Chair. This doesn't talk about, I don't want to address HCS, that issue, that 400,000. I just want to compliment young kings and queens for biting the bullet and doing it now rather than waiting until the middle of next year and saying, sorry, we aren't going to be able to do it, because then we would be under the gun. Right now, we still have a little time to do something constructive with that $400,000. I think they deserve credit for, like I said, biting the bullet now.
Absolutely. Thank you for making that recognition of them. And I know commissioners, particular Commissioner Ray, has talked with them frequently. That they really worked hard to try to get this program up and off of the ground. And I know this is a difficult decision for them, but it's transparent and allows us to be proactive. So thank you for that, Commissioner Morales.
Thank you. So on behalf of Commissioner Ray, she would like to request that we amend the motion to reflect what needs to be reimbursed to young kings and queens. So rescind the 400,000 minus the cost to reimburse them.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. I think we don't actually have a motion on the floor at this time.
Okay.
And I think sort of how we're going to move forward, we'll probably take this up at our next meeting, and then we can refine more specifically what cost incurred were and be accommodating of that in discussion. Vice Chair.
And I did Receive, I think we can do the very first part of the motion where we accept declination of the ARPA funds, not necessarily rescinding because we didn't give them the money. It was just sort of a reimbursement sort of system. So I am going to put a motion on the floor for the first part. How we spend it, we can do in the next meeting. But the first part, I move that we accept declination of the ARPA funds originally awarded to young kings and queens in 2022. Support.
Motion is made by Vice Chair, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem. Discussion. So to the point that Commissioner Morales has elevated, a rescission of the full 400,000 is before us right now without consideration of costs incurred. We could though, administration, and I know you're trying to find information for me as I'm fielding you another question. But we could simply move another motion to reimburse any costs incurred, even though we're gonna sort of take this 400,000 back, we can still reallocate whatever the 15,000, whatever the number of actual costs incurred at a later time, correct? So doing that would not preclude us from supporting incurred costs. Thank you for that. Any further discussion? Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Yes, I agree with what you're saying. I think if we take it back, then at our next meeting, we may be able to attain the actual amount with the information necessary to reimburse them. We can do that at our next meeting and still work forward to allocate the remaining whatever's left of that 400,000. So I concur with that. So, but I think we should just move ahead and get this going.
Thank you. Commissioner Winston. Oh, thank you. All right, any further? All right, all those in favor accepting the rescission of 400,000 to Young declination, thank you. The declination from Young Kings and Queens. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chair Strips,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray, 7 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. Okay, we're going to move to our next item, a non-consent. This is a request for approval of rescission of the remaining balance of the weather-related disaster relief award provided to Texas Charter Township, the amount of $27,267.68 to be reappropriated at a future meeting of the County Board of Commissioners.
So moved. Support.
Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, support by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there a discussion? Commissioner Mazer, would you like to?
I believe what has taken place here is they're hoping that at some point, maybe we can put this toward after the storm, because they ran into some issues with not being able to use that funding. So they were hoping that they need it, but it couldn't be used in the manner that was set up for ARPA.
Thank you, Commissioner Mazer. Because the government award then can basically be used for government purposes and public buildings and public lands. And if we reallocate the funds to after the storm, then it can be used to help support private homeowners, which is the need. And I think administration, you're aware of that's their desire. So we'll take that up at a future meeting for the allocation. Okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler, Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Yes.
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray, Chair Strips,
Yes.
7 yes.
Right, that motion carries. We'll go to our next. This is a request for approval of a rescission for the Housing Millage Grant Award in the amount of $173,000 previously awarded to Young Kings and Queens program to be placed back into the Housing Millage Fund for future funding opportunities as approved by the board. Motion made by Vice Chair Taylor, supported by Commissioner Morales. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Mazer? Commissioner Morales? Commissioner Ray? Chair Strips?
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler? Commissioner DeLu?
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler?
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler?
Yes.
7 yes.
Okay, that motion carries. All right, now we're going to move to the item requested by Commissioner Ray. Under housing, it was item 2025-830, which was a request for approval and signature of an agreement, City of Kalamazoo, to support Finding a Way Home program in the amount of $15,000. Motion made by Commissioner DeLu, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there discussion? Vice Chair.
When I originally saw this at our agenda setting meeting, I was like, what? We're spending $15,000 to put people on a bus and just send them wherever. But I did research into it. There is a soft handoff where they do communicate with people that where they're going. They're not just sending homeless people to Chicago or Indianapolis with no place to go. They're talking to the families and they're setting up the support systems before they go. I did have some questions after, though, the public comment that I was 100% in support of that, but now I've got a few questions about it. There was a comment made by the officer, I forgot her name, but the City of Kalamazoo to date this year has spent $5,000. Last year they spent $7,800. My question is what did the City of Kalamazoo put into it, and why is the program going up by 1,000, 12? I mean, just an exorbitant amount of. We're putting in 15. I'm assuming the city is putting in 15 as well. That's 30 grand. If we're spending $5,000 to $10,000 a year, we're tripling the size of this program. Do we still have confidence that that soft handoff is there? And that we're actually, when we're sending unhoused people to different communities, that there is that soft handoff. I just want that reassurance that there is that soft handoff to organizations, and we're not just putting people on a bus.
I see Director Balcoma with interest to address that. Director.
Thanks for that question, Vice Chair. So, it's with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, the Kalamazoo Gospel Mission, and ISK. The Kalamazoo Gospel Mission formerly had money, but their pot has run out, and same with ISK. So this pot will coordinate. I didn't want to bring 3 separate requests, one for the mission, one for ISK, one for KDPS. So they're partnering. And this money, hopefully it'll last a little bit after the end of the year, but they will use it all. And the amount of homeless people has skyrocketed, and they do want to make a warm handoff to where these folks are going.
Okay, so even so, the previous year. Oh, I'm sorry, Chair. Is it okay if I proceed?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair. Go ahead.
Sorry. So we're not increasing the size of this program 3 or 4 times in a 1-year period of time. It's just being funded, but instead of the Gospel Mission and ISK, it's now coming from the city and the county. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and we still have that soft handoff with the law enforcement agencies, whoever is making sure that you can tell me we're not putting people on a bus and sending them to Houston or something like that.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
This is a warm handoff, and they're making active phone calls to get people back to their social network, their family. They're not just sending them on a bus to Timbuktu. That is
Okay.
not the goal of the program.
Okay, well then I'm in support.
Thank you.
I will just no, I appreciate hearing about the collaboration and review the materials in the board agenda request documentation. It really doesn't talk about the collaboration with the other organizations. So the logic as one request makes total sense, but I appreciate Director sharing that, but would be good to refine in the future when we have a collaboration to note it. because there is sort of a sentiment in the community when you talk to people in the unhoused community, when you talk with people out in the streets, they will talk about, my friend just got put on a bus and shipped out of the community by KDPS. So an awareness of what is going on is important so that the community does not feel like we are simply just trying to hide or shuffle people experience housing instability out of the community. This is an attempt to connect them with family resources, with natural supports, and working in mental health. You know, one of the things that helps a person be most successful when we're talking about recovery from severe mental health concerns or with substance abuse issues is having the connection and support of loved ones, family, and friends around us. When we're isolated from that, it makes recovery much more difficult. And so there is a, you know, a correlation not just with, you know, connecting them, but it links directly to helping people recover as well. Okay. Is there any further discussion? Commissioner Gisler.
Thank you, Chair. We're using the number 15,000 as an absolute. Would there be any room for adding in front of that up to 15,000? Is that necessary?
Well, I think to that I would concur. We have reporting for all of the ARPA awards that we receive. So we just got recently a simplified report where you can see what the awards were, how much has been spent, how much is left. This would be in place for, this is also an ARPA award. And so if they don't spend it all up to 15,000, those monies would need to be reallocated. They have until December of next year to do that. Okay. Commissioner Morales.
And forgive me if it was mentioned, how many family or people, is this just for mental health? Because I hear ISK, I hear you talking about recovery. How is one a candidate? Like you see on the news or people go live on, for example, they're going live on Facebook with the police walking up to homeless folks, moving them from the areas of downtown. So are those candidates, like, am I able to address her right now since she's already talking?
Thank you, Commissioner
Thanks,
Morales.
Director Balkema.
Through the chair, and I'll ask Director Balkema to address Commissioner Morales.
So I just support the program. You know, the warm handoff is a little concerning for me. Is money in their pocket? Are we sending them somewhere? Like, when, I guess a small scenario, like, hey, Monteith, I got this program. Do you have someone who lives in Connecticut? We're going to send you there. You buy my ticket. And the family is just saying, yeah, come on in. Is there job placement? Like, how deep are we going into this? Assurance wise, you know, we hear every year, first it was pods, then it was something else, then we didn't know where the money was going, then it's sweeps, you know, and so it gets a little frustrating. And I want to make sure that if I know folks who are not thriving here that may be a candidate of that, especially throughout the school system, we know that there is a high amount of youth that are here that are unhoused, that just need a tad bit more support from wherever they're from. So I want to make sure that the program is successful. I also think that combining the 15,000 into one entity so you didn't have to bring up three is a great idea, but I just need just to tap with more clarity.
Sure. So currently those folks are being identified with a community service team in conjunction with the Kalamazoo Gospel Mission and ISK. So that's where most of the clientele are coming from. Could they come from someone else and be connected into that? I mean, I don't see an issue. Why not? So that's currently the three organizations that are identifying folks. You know, the mission has folks dropped off from other hospitals and ambulances, and sometimes it's the hospital wanting to remove folks from their care who are very expensive, and so then they come to the mission, and this is not really where they're from at all, right? Or, you know, our general homeless population, the same thing. They're here for whatever reason, but if we can give them a loving way back home to their support group, it is a lot better.
And so how many folks are we, I mean, 15,000 isn't a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money, you know, I think a couple weeks ago they sent one back to California, that was probably the $400 ticket. But if they send somewhere in Michigan, you know, that's much cheaper on the bus.
So it's just the ticket. We're just securing you getting to your next location and that's it.
Yes, and sometimes we're securing that you're getting to the next shelter and they're calling to make sure there's room, or they're calling the family, so all of a sudden you're not just dropped off again.
And I'm assuming that because they're seeing a specialist, that they have ID in place and that kind of stuff so that they can travel. Maybe.
I don't know that for sure.
Okay. So those are just some of the concerns, like we talked about county ID earlier, people needed to go to the doctor, and some doctors will not accept a county ID because it's not a state ID, and you know what I'm saying? So I'm just asking so that.
I can follow up beyond
I
that.
appreciate that. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Director.
Yeah, and just on to the director, that when your follow-up on county ID, I think the struggle there is they have to be a resident of Kalamazoo County to get the ID, and these people are about to leave the community. So that may not be a fit, but there are probably other programming options for state ID for those who have the documentation that would help them do that. Or while we're doing that legwork for the WARM handoff, and the current resident maybe county ID is a temporary fix for them. I think most important is that, you know, they're directly connecting to somebody beyond just another shelter in Connecticut that's going to be responsible, that there's actually people there that can help love, support, and care for people. That's a concern with the other one. Okay. All right, any further discussion? Okay. With that, thank you, Director. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Ray. Chair Strips.
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor.
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler. Commissioner DeLuke.
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler.
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Commissioner Mazer. 7 yes.
That motion carries. All right, that brings us to the end of our non-consent agenda. That takes us back to the wait. I did get those out, thank you. Just double checking. All right, we'll go back to public comment. This is an opportunity again to address the board on a topic of your choosing. To participate in public comment, you can do so virtually or in person. Virtually, you call 855-925-2801. Meeting code is 10748, and you press *3. Are there any other members of the public wishing to make public comment? Seeing none. Dina, is there anyone online?
Chair, there are no hands raised.
All right, thank you so much. Okay. That takes us now to reports of our officers, body, administrator, and controller. And I'll lead those off. So we continue to have a challenging time. This board this evening made a number of allocations in support of our local law enforcement community, and hopefully strong collaboration with transparency and data access about our criminal justice system to the community at large. We're at a time in this country where the, sometimes very tenuous trust between law enforcement and members of the community is extremely strained, and will become more strained as we watch the implementation of federal policy, particularly around immigration enforcement. We had extensive comments shared by Sheriff Fuller this evening regarding sort of how our county is referred to or not referred to. And I want to clarify for community members of all types, this board continues to value the dignity and humanity of all people. We continue to value the constitutional rights of all people in our community. We also continue to advocate that all members of our community elevate their voices, express when they hear concerns. If you have, thankfully, we had community members bring forth concern about law enforcement officials operating within local guidance, masked. And that was addressed and refined by our local law enforcement. If we have unknown actors in our community operating that way, and we don't know if they are acting in a lawful manner or not a lawful manner, I encourage the community to understand your rights. And if you think someone is being harmed by people you don't know that are legitimate actors, to reach out to local law enforcement who will communicate with people, identify people, and if we have bad actors in their community, intervene accordingly. So I want to be clear to that regard. We are working to keep our community from being targeted and brutalized, while recognizing that everyone has value, all people have rights, and all of us who swear an oath to the Constitution, to the state constitution, must and will work to uphold that. The other thing I want to note is that there are people who are much more articulate than I, who continue to speak to this across media. And again, as I've said over and over, and we all know, we're in very segregated information environments in our community. But we must make no mistake that we are witnessing a brutal rise in fascism in America. That operates against the rule of law. It undermines the constitutional order of our republic, and it is something that community members of all stripes cannot and must not stand for. We have power so long as we do not cede that power. We had robust discussions here at the board level when we worked through redistricting locally after the last census, which is the typical time frame when that occurs. We're watching that regular process be undermined at the federal level. Make no mistake, that is a threat on our democratic process. It cannot be abided by. It cannot stand without our voices elevating against that. The arena, the debate of a body of Congress, is to debate the ideas, to bring them forth for a vote, and to prevail on those votes when the will of the body is there. The same for the will of the people. When elections come forward, candidates make their case and they win or lose based on their ability to persuade the population to their argument. Political opportunists who know they cannot prevail on the merits of their argument seek other ways in which to gain and hold power. When we watch the unbridled use of power, what we see occur across our globe is both the brutalization of civilians. We're watching that happen in America, where people are being deported to third world or to third party states that are operating outside of our rule of law. We're watching that occur to hostages and to children across the globe who starve to death before our eyes because of the brutal behavior of men too concerned with wielding their power. They don't hold the power. People hold the power. Let's not forget it. I know I go on those tirades each time that we convene, but there are serious times in front of us, and we can't look away from it. No matter what, we cannot. We're engaged in important work at the local level. We'll be problem solving what we're going to do about potential federal threats in our budget process. And we need to be clear-eyed about that and protect our community and the lives and well-being of everyone that we're elected to serve. Thank you to my board for our work tonight, and thanks for the grace as we move through some clunky motions this evening, but we got our work done. So thank you, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And, we got through the clunky motions because the trust that we all have in each other that we've generated over the last 3 years. So that's the testament to this group. First, I'd like to thank the sheriff. He's come quite a few times over the last several years about a new RMS and JMS system at the jail and a system with data. And we were able to do that tonight. And I think that's a huge victory for the people that are working in the jail. I think it's going to make their lives hopefully a little bit easier. I know that it's not a fun place to work. And thank you to the men and women of Kalamazoo County that continue to do that day in and day out. My hat goes off to them. The youth sports, congratulations to Discover Kalamazoo and the youth sports complex that we've finalized and approved tonight. I know it's important, especially as it gets off the ground, that they're going to need every dollar that they can to facilitate those buildings. But I mean, in future contracts, as we go through future, I'd like to take a look at the youth sports complex as we negotiate that and treat it like we treat other millages, where if we're using our bonding authority and we're using our collection systems and we should receive an administrative fee or collection rate that we do with every other millage that we incorporate. This is the first one that we have not done that with. That's okay because I know how important this is, especially in the first few years. But as we renegotiate that contract and that collection rate, I think we should put that in for the following portion and figure out what our software cost is, what our time is to pursue this. Because we're getting this off the ground, and happy to do that as a commissioner for the first portion of this. But as we move on and on and on, and the room nights get larger and larger, I think that it probably would behoove us to recoup some of our costs in that endeavor. Lastly, I've been dealing with the Fair Council and gone and dealt with the consultant that was tasked with trying to talk to all the people involved, and I have optimistic hope that we are going to get somewhere and have a plan that we can. And if we can't, then I am in support of adding a position from the County Board of Commissioners as fair director during our budget process. So that's hopefully we can get that through the consultant. We can get a plan in place, and it's not done from the dais. I absolutely hate that, but I am prepared in that endeavor. And then finally, it is almost 8 o'clock. So Bo, if you are still up, it's time for bed.
Summer break, John, poor Bo. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, give the kid a break. It's summertime, John. Come on. Mom will take care of it. Along with that, thank you for your support. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. I want to share that the county 4-H show has started. It started the first of the week, runs through Saturday, so it's free to get in. So please pack up the family and friends. I was out there before our meeting tonight. It looked a little lonely out there, so please go out and support our 4-H kids who've worked hard all year. Bring up their family and their crops and stuff, and I'm sure they'd love to see you out there. And I hope that by next year they'll have a little more entertainment to go along with it, along with the food and things like elephant ears from Mr. Gissler. And so take a moment to get out there and see him. I think the sheriff's going out, and we got to go out there and help him buy some chickens and turkeys and other assorted dinners. So, but with that, as always, please keep in mind, as we mentioned, our men and women that protect us from abroad and our men and women that take care of us here at home, the ambulance folks, our county employees that work diligently to make Kalamazoo a great place to live, work, and play. I got to try to make sure that Dr. Kaplan gets that onto his presentations now, so that as our leading dialogue. Anyway, for that, and actually, I will throw in a little personal note that this Friday from 2 to 8 down at Hit 'em Here in Battle Creek, they're doing a benefit for the Salvation Army, a very important resource to our communities. They're trying to do a benefit to raise more funds to support the Salvation Army. So if you have time, please come by and see them and support the Salvation Army. They're a very important part to law enforcement, to our firefighting folks who work diligently to keep us safe. So with that, have a great week.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales? Oh, I'm sorry, let me just skip you, Administrator. My apologies. Administrator Kemp.
All right, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Thank you for your patience this evening. I know that there's some hiccups in the cow, but we're gonna start meeting with the chair before so we can get a better meeting cadence on the agenda packet. So we apologize for the confusion on the motions that were created. I have a couple of things I want to share, well, several actually. And first off, I want to start off with the HCS copper water line replacement project. So that actual issue was presented, time flies here in Kalamazoo County. It was actually presented in April 2024. And so it's been a long standing issue. And so I apologize for the misinformation that I presented. And we also have the financial information to back and support the water procurement. It's roughly $5,000 a year. So last year they spent roughly $4,000-ish. Right now we're about $2,500 for 2025. So with cushion in there, depending on how much water is being utilized and consumed, roughly $5,000 a year. So insignificant in the grand scheme of the county budget. However, I will say though that when we talk about ARPA funding and how it was provided for a specific purpose, which was respect to disproportionately impacted communities, HCS does serve a broad range of people, but most of them come from disproportionately impacted communities. And then also, we also must consider the employees, our employees that are serving there and being compelled to just drink bottled water, purified water, because they don't have access to routine tap water and such. So I just put that out there as we kind of pursue different avenues to fund that copper water line replacement project. We'll follow up with board leadership on some different strategies to approach that, and then hopefully get that project on board and on schedule. So I wanted to start off with the first one. We already have Chair Strebs and Vice Chair Taylor signed up for this, but we have until the deadline is September 19th to sign up for the MAC annual conference. So the Michigan Association of Counties is hosting that from September 30th to October 2nd at the Grand Traverse Resort in Grand Traverse County, so Traverse City. It's a 3-day, 2-night conference focused on critical county government issues and networking with peers statewide. Again, the deadline to register is September 19th. So if you'd like to attend, we'd like to know ASAP because hotel spots really accommodations get fill up quickly rather. And so just let us know, but we already have the chair and vice chair registered for that. Wanted to just follow up on the budget retreat and FY 2026 budget timeline. So following the July 29th budget retreat, we had staff compiling information requested by commissioners during that presentation. We plan to have all the information compiled no later than the August 19th board meeting. At that time, on August 19th, we plan to deliver a presentation on revenue forecasting assumptions as well as expenditures for board input along with preliminary expenditure considerations for input by the board so that we can produce the administrator's recommended budget. We plan to have the administrator's recommended budget in that entire document, hopefully in draft form, up and live by September 16th. So for that board meeting, hopefully sooner, but we're shooting for the 16th. We're actually making really good progress. So that presentation will include a draft of the entire digital budget book for review and further refinement as we move on and into October. Wanted to talk about the transitional family housing shelter and our need for funding partners. So we're actively pursuing funding partners for that project to help launch and sustain operations for the transitional family housing shelter. So we really ask, really community-wide, if anyone knows or has networks that are interested in supporting this critical initiative, to please contact us, reach out to our housing director, reach out to administration so that we can connect on potential funding opportunities. We're also looking to engage with a nonprofit fiscal partner to serve as the fundraising arm of the landing place for long-term fiscal sustainability. And so in that regard, an action may appear on a future county board agenda in the near future and on engaging a financial partner, because we've had some discussions with some nonprofits that are interested in that endeavor. Just a quick update about the parking garage. We're still making progress. We're still on schedule. We're going to be onboarding a project manager, so that'll be a future county board agenda item. Construction manager, we received bids back on that, so our purchasing division rather, and the finance department is compiling that information for review by administration. And then additionally, we're finalizing a purchase agreement with the city of Kalamazoo to acquire the Metro parking lot, which will provide sufficient space for the parking garage. However, rest assured that the Metro Amtrak parking lot will be absorbed into and incorporated into the parking structure, so they will still have access to overnight parking for those customers that utilize the Amtrak service. So it's a partnership on that front. We talked, I know Vice Chair Pro Tem talked about the 4-H fair. And so in particular, I want to bring up the Kalamazoo County Fair and the feasibility study engagement. Our fair consultant, Lori Dixon of Great Lakes Marketing, is leading the fair feasibility study in collaboration with the county. And she has reached out to commissioners. So if you have not had a chance to reach out to her, please do, because she's really wanting to garner your input as the final plan is presented. And it's really your perspective is vital here, because it helps guide the future of what that fair may look like, what your thoughts are, and then provides direction to staff. Otherwise, if we don't have that, we really don't know how to proceed. And then lastly, for the community and for this board, so share widely and broadly, and I'm sure it'll be in the news, but we had a West Nile virus detected in Kalamazoo County. So the HCS department issued a press release, or will be issuing a press release for announcing the first confirmed detection of West Nile virus in Kalamazoo County for the season. And so to help minimize risk of mosquito-borne illnesses, residents are encouraged to use EPA registered insect repellents, really those that contain DEET or I don't know, anyway, I just say DEET. And so DEET, and it says picaridin. I think that's how it's pronounced. And so I would just say DEET. I'd say most consumers are familiar with DEET. They say to wear protective clothing, so long sleeves, pants, or socks, and socks rather. Avoid outdoor activity between dusk and dawn when mosquitoes are most active. Eliminate standing water around homes, so bird baths, plant pots, gutters, things of that nature, and then ensure windows and door screens are intact to prevent mosquitoes from entering. So that's just some guidance from the HCS department and EPA. And lastly, just appreciate your continued partnership as we continue to advance important priorities in Kalamazoo County. Thank you.
Questions? Vice Chair, go ahead.
Really quick, all the bids for construction managers, they're open now, correct?
Yes, they were opened, and our purchasing division is assembling the information, the bid tab information.
Or is it appropriate to forward those bids? Is it public information yet?
It will be once they compile it. So
Okay.
Our purchasing manager is actually just out on vacation. So
Okay.
But her team is working on compiling information. We will get that out to the board. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Vice Chair Pro Tem.
If you could also add tires. Tires are a huge mosquito draw. If you got tires around your property, they hold water. Mosquitoes love it. They breed in those things like no tomorrow. So please keep those things empty or get rid of them properly. That was something that we've talked with the health department over many years. So please.
And that's a great, great addition. And Chair, if I may, I was just reminded of one last item. It's an important item, new board photos and portrait of the board. So we're trying to establish a date to have photos taken of the board and then a collective photo for the portrait. We're looking at August 19th, which is right around the corner, or September 16th. That's when the photographer is available. So that has traditionally taken the photos from the of the county board and the countywide elected officials. So up to the board on what they're thinking in terms of dates, but happy to take questions on that.
So I got cute for nothing?
Yeah, so
Never mind, we'll talk later.
yeah.
Sir, it takes a lot of effort to put on Spanx. Don't do that to me no more now. Okay, no, just playing. Okay, we'll talk. Cause I was like, where's our pictures at? We've been waiting like 6 months. See, I got you, Dr. Catlin.
Good. Thank you, Administrator. Mr. Morales?
I'm back on it. I'm talking to you, Dr. Catlin. I'm joking. Okay, so thank you, Chair. Good work tonight. There's a lot going on in our country, specifically related to law enforcement. And I appreciate how Kalamazoo County as a whole has been stepping up to address, one, the mass issue, two, the nuisance issue. If you all haven't heard, the Black establishment downtown on Farmers Alley, that the nuisance is supposed to be targeted to some areas in District 1 that are overpopulated, overcrowded. The Experience and Wild Bull are not even a block apart. It was a party this weekend, and owners found that their cars had been towed from participating in that property. The city stepped up. They have relinquished those tickets and reimbursed folks where the cars have been impounded. And so I'm saying all that to say it just feels like Black and brown folks are heavily being targeted throughout this nation and even in our county. And it was quite disturbing to see police officers en masse, even in raids. And historically with KVED, I've never really, unless they were in armored gear, I've never seen officers, the way they looked a couple of weeks ago. Folks went live, and it was a disturbing vision of what we are typically used to seeing. So I'm glad those statements went out. I do hope that our government gets it together nationwide on how we are addressing police violence. I'm glad that we are not identified as a sanctuary county, because it'll put a target on our back. And I had a conversation recently where, I know people mean well. There were some martyrs like, we need this. We're going to go and we're going to address this. And I'm like, no, because if ICE came in here right now, including this board, and dragged me out by my neck, I don't think that people would step in between them. You risk your life, your family, you being detained. And so we need to think about, like, nobody's about to house people in their houses when you ask to be a sanctuary city. And I want to be realistic so that we're not making unnecessary noise when it comes to this issue. And by going out there and doing things like that, it puts a population of people by last name like myself, where we have seen government officials on the congressional level be slammed to the floor. So they don't care that we're elected officials. There's no protection when it comes to that. So I want us to be cognizant of that. Someone with the last name of Morales, I might be one of the closest that you see on the 1st and 3rd. And I'd like y'all to think about that if they came in here and dragged me out and didn't care that I was a citizen, what would we do? Because this is a real issue. So just trying to bring it home. I did talk with Dr. Dixon for the study. I did tell her this is why I do not like to fund these type of studies, because we get low participation. But she was very nice, and she really wants to give us a solution to how we move with the county fair moving forward, and how 4-H moves and those things. Of course, I brought up, I'm even scared to say culturally relevant issues. so that it can be better attended, and how we could incorporate maybe, how they had National Night Out, maybe it's County Night Out where, we find Community Foundation to fund buses to have people be able to engage in the fair where we can get some revenue so that it's not just a certain population that can afford to go. Because it's affordability right now. Being able, if you got 3, 4 kids, it's hard to get everybody an elephant ear. You know what I'm saying? Or a hot dog or whatever. So anyway, I'm not gonna hold people's time because the now virus is heavy and it's dusk, I think. So thank y'all. I appreciate it. And have a good night.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Mazer.
Great meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Gisler.
Yes, since elephant ears have come up a couple times, that's one of my favorite fruits, so to speak. And I will tell you this, there is a meeting in downtown Vicksburg right now, and there will be elephant ears. But I will not be going down to get one. They are now getting $12 for an elephant ear. Good grief. I mean, it's dough with cinnamon and sugar on it. I mean, it's big, but holy moly, $12 for an elephant ear. And it's a little late. I won't get there before they shut down anyway. I do have one serious thing to mention, and that is that Jane Ghosh, the the CEO of Discover Kalamazoo, will be speaking next Monday at 8:30 in the morning at Mark's Diner on Romance and Portage. And I've encouraged her, she wanted to know, do you want to talk about anything specific? I said, just give us sort of a synopsis, Cliff's Notes version of what you presented to the board, and that'll be wonderful, but leave plenty of room for questions because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of them. So anybody that's, here or anywhere else, you want to show up at 8:30 on Monday morning, Jane's going to dazzle us with everything she can tell us about the youth sports center. And I want to give everybody, because I know it's on the top of most people's minds now, with the big incentive being offered to become ICE employees. I've checked with Dale and he's not coming out of retirement. So thank you.
I might have to afford an elephant ear. Apparently all prices aren't down since January. I thought all prices were down. Miss Dixon there in the Fair Council, there's no avoiding her. You said please contact her. She's persistent. Yes. So there's not going to be any avoiding her. I just want to thank this board tonight for its continued support of local law enforcement based on our votes tonight. So very important, and this board has always been very supportive that I've experienced for local law enforcement. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think our business is expended for the evening. Thank you, everybody. We're adjourned.
Dr. Gavel.